All right, busy day today at the 49ers facility. I show up and I found out that Christian McCaffrey has been extended for 2 years. This is a Hall of Fame caliber player who the 49ers have just added 2 more years onto his contract. They've also rewarded him with some guaranteed money. I'm going to get into this because what San Francisco is doing is financial wizardry. They're ahead of the curve, ahead of the rest of the NFL as far as pushing cap money into the future, yet keeping it sustainable, surfing a wave, getting that zero interest loan. And most of the salary cap stuff that I see out there is downright illiterate. People don't understand what the 49ers are doing. And then there's a lot of pretending about what the 49ers are doing. Like there was these tweets today that said the 49ers are saving $8.5 million in each of the next 4 seasons against the cap with this Christian McCaffrey deal. And I look at it and I say, that's literally impossible. You can't save money in every single season. You've got to pay it at some point. Of course, that ended up being incorrect. The true numbers are as such. The 49ers saved $7.4 million this year and another $5 million against the salary cap next year. They're doing this through a process that I'll call salary cap deferments, in which they're paying Christian McCaffrey now, but they're utilizing the prorated bonus rule in the NFL, which means signing bonuses are spread out like an accordion over 5 years, up to 5 years. They're using that to make sure that the money doesn't hit the cap until the future. And there really is no downside to this because the salary cap is growing every year. So there's only upside to this for the 49ers. But with Christian McCaffrey's contract, we are seeing the 49ers' second ever triple bonus contract. The 49ers' first ever triple bonus contract came via Nick Bosa last year. This is my graphic that I made up on The Athletic. So I'm going to use this to first introduce what a triple bonus is. But they gave Bosa a $50 million signing bonus. As I said, it's stretched out over up to 5 years. So $10 million per year against the cap from 2023 to 2027 for Nick Bosa. Then a guaranteed option bonus of $15.2 million kicked in Bosa's second year. So you divide that into 5, prorated 2024 to 2028. Then another bonus, this one $29 million kicks in 2025. So 29 divided by 5, $5.8 million, and it stretches out 2025 through 2029. To allow it to stretch out as far as possible, the 49ers add void years. So Bosa's contract ends in 2028, but there is a void year in 2029. So that was the first time that the 49ers had run this triple accordion structure. The end result is Bosa record deal, but his cap hits are only $11 million in 2023, $14.7 million this year, $20.5 million in 2025, and then it skyrockets after that because all that deferred money starts hitting the cap at once. Well, with Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers did something similar. We're going to put McCaffrey's deal up on the screen, and I will explain the 49ers' second ever triple bonus structure. So this is McCaffrey's deal. I haven't made my own table yet, so this one is up on over the cap. We can take away the title there for a second just so we can see what's going on. Southwest Airlines is going to get free advertising. And we can see here with McCaffrey, they've lowered his base salaries for 2024 and 2025 to what is essentially it is the league minimum, $1.21 million. That raises for veterans next year to $1.255 million. But they gave Christian McCaffrey first a signing bonus of $14.3 million. So that signing bonus of $14.3 million is amortized over 5 years. And it comes out to, I think, 14.3 divided by 5. What's it going to be? Let's look. 14.3 divided by 5. Only 2.86 million of that hits the cap in any given season. So there it is, 2028, 2.86 million. McCaffrey, he had a deal restructured from last year. So there already is a signing bonus proration from that is carried over, which is why it's over 5 million for this year. But any money that you pay a player, you eventually have to pay against the salary cap. You just can control to a certain extent where it hits. So McCaffrey's 2024 signing bonus is 14.3 million. Then you could see here in 2025, they've awarded him an option bonus. It's a $14.2 million option bonus, but only 8.5 million of that is fully guaranteed. However, it still prorates. So 14.2 million divided by 5, it's going to be around the same as that first bonus because it's just a tiny bit smaller. 2.84 million, as you can see here, that prorates over 5 years. And then, just like they did for Nick Bosa, the 49ers gave Christian McCaffrey a third option bonus, this one in 2026. This one is worth $10.6 million. So you take $10.6 million, you divide it by 5, and you have $2.12 million. Boom. Look at the very bottom here. 2.11 or $2.12 million. It's a rounding error because I didn't go to the nearest decimal point, but that final bonus stretches out all the way until 2030. So what they've done with McCaffrey, even though he's only under contract through 2027, they've added enough void years to handle the entire triple option bonus. It's the 49ers' second ever triple bonus contract. And what it's done, look at the cap hits. It's kept Christian McCaffrey's cap hit down at 6.7 million this year, 9.8 million the next year. And then the cap hits get bigger, 11.9, 27.6, 14.9 in dead money. But guess what? It doesn't matter that it gets larger later. People get freaked out about dead money and, oh, they're pushing too much money back. Who cares if you push it back? You're not paying interest on this cap space. So if there's more room in 2027, then so be it. Push the money back into 2027. Every dollar that you pay Christian McCaffrey in 2027 counts less, a smaller percentage against the cap than it does in 2024. So take out that zero interest loan, push that money back. The only thing that you have to avoid is paying too much right now to any collection of players, to your entire collection of players, to the point where you would have to become cap compliant through cutting players, that you would have no other recourse but to restructure players, push that money. You would have no more recourse in restructuring players and pushing money backwards. You just have to lop off that expenditure in the present day. That's what we call cap hell. The 49ers of the late 90s, early 2000s found themselves in cap hell. The New Orleans Saints have found themselves in cap hell recently. The Los Angeles Rams have also found themselves in cap hell recently. That's what you want to avoid. That's where I come in with my sink theory, right? Every single season, the salary cap is a sink. Your expenditures are water filling the sink. You want to make sure that in any given season, the sink does not overflow. So you have to control the amount of water that's pouring into the sink, but you also have to control the amount of water that you're draining out. And each sink is connected. So the 2024 sink is connected to the 2025 sink. So if you let water out of the 2024 sink, you could let it into the 2025 sink. If you give out a big signing bonus or convert base salary into signing bonus, then basically you take a clump of water from the 2024 sink and you deposit a fifth of that water, a fifth of that clump into 2025, another fifth into 2026, another fifth into 2027, and so on and so forth. So managing the sink water level in any given year is extremely important, but you also have to think about the water levels of future sinks so those don't go over. And the 49ers are about to take a massive bucket and pour it into the 2025, 2026, 2027 sinks with Brock Purdy's contract. So they have to pre-plan. And that's what this Christian McCaffrey deal is all about. When you look at this and you think of, okay, the 49ers have dispersed money into the future. They've saved money right now. And this is a crazy strategy in terms of the fact that I don't think that every other team is doing this at the level that the 49ers are doing it. The money that the 49ers save right now, so that the sink space that the 49ers preserve in the current moment will carry over if it's unused into future years. So here's my salary cap sheet. Look, I've updated this. Christian McCaffrey's down to $6.86 million hit here in 2024. It was over 14 million. So on an in-season accounting scale, this already accounts for the practice squad and all those expenses the 49ers are sure to have in the 2024 season. On an in-season accounting scale, the 49ers have $23.7 million in salary cap space. Whatever they don't use, they will carry over into 2025. Here are the 2025 books. Now, I haven't updated the 2025 books fully, and maybe I should do that right now as we speak. So bear with me. We got to add Juwan Jennings into them. So you guys are going to get to see a salary cap update happen in real time on this spreadsheet because 2025 is a key year. That's when Brock Purdy's new deal might come onto the books. It probably will come onto the books in 2025. So Jennings has a cap hit of 4.258 million in 2025. So why don't we slot Juwan Jennings in there? We'll put him in the 2 spot for the time being. As you can tell, Brandon Aiyuk is not under contract for 2025, so he's not in there yet. So we put Jennings in there. And now we need to put Christian McCaffrey's new cap hit for 2025 in there. And the new cap hit is 9.806 million. Down, like I said, they're saving about 4 to 5 million. 9.806 million right here for Christian McCaffrey. So we added Jennings' number into the mix. That was fresh for the 2025 books, and we reduced Christian McCaffrey's number. As of now, the 49ers, with 31 players under contract for the 2025 season, have $22.6 million in space. So they obviously are going to need more salary cap room to pay at least 22 more players to fill out a 53-man roster and have one of those payments be to Brock Purdy, who, they could backload his deal, but it's still going to be more expensive than 1.12 million against the cap once they extend him. So 22.6 million is not a whole lot of money, not a whole lot of sink space to be able to do that, right? That'd be average about $1 million per player, probably not going to be enough to build a robust roster. Well, the good news is we go back to 2024. Look at this. The 49ers are projected to carry over quite a bit of space. This is an all expenses included sheet. So if with all expenses included for the 53-man roster, maybe minus a few injuries that happened during the season, the 49ers have over $23 million in space that is sitting untouched. They may gain even more if they're able to extend Brandon Aiyuk and lower his cap hit through the same mechanisms that I've already illustrated. So if that happens, the 49ers can take 23.7 million, let's call it 23 million, and add it onto this number up here, I'll just for arguments purposes, plus 23, boom. All of a sudden, once they carry over that space, they'll have $45.6 million to work with in 2025. And that's before they've used all the potential tricks to open up space. So that's why I talk about this as multiple sinks, different years, zero interest loan. You defer the payments into the future using the rule that the NFL has given you. The 49ers have used this masterfully so far. We saw it with the triple option, the triple bonus structure of Nick Bosa. And now we're seeing it with Christian McCaffrey. Guess what? They've even used it in smaller contracts. This is Juwan Jennings' deal. Jennings, 2 veteran minimum base salaries, but he's got a signing and an option bonus. The signing bonus kicks in this year at $6.2 million. The option bonus of $5.6 million kicks in next year, so he doesn't hit the 2024 cap with the option bonus. It is staggered. It's an accordion impact that's stretched out, and it's staggered. The final result is Jennings has a cap number of only $2.8 million this season. That cap number is lower by $2 million than the second round tender amount would have been. You might think it's magic, but it's really not. I think it's actually pretty basic accounting, and I think that the 49ers have mastered this in order to surf the wave that they need to surf. Now, it is surfing the wave of increasing league revenues. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, if the salary cap was going down, or if the salary cap was staying the same. Well, ultimately, you'd have to pay the bill and you wouldn't have room to pay the bill. You wouldn't have the money to do it against the salary cap. But if the salary cap continues increasing, well, then you could theoretically continue surfing the wave endlessly, right? So that's what the 49ers are doing right now. And the size of the salary cap is tied to the size of league revenues. So I talked about it this weekend, I think, in the little walk around San Francisco video. And I could continue talking about it right now, but Taylor Swift earned the 49ers some salary cap breathing room, because that whole Taylor Swift phenomenon brought more revenue to the league. You had greater jersey sales, more interest in many different ways, and the revenue increased. It probably sold more streaming subscriptions to Peacock, right? When that was the playoff game that the Kansas City Chiefs played at home against the Miami Dolphins. That was also the game where Kristen Juszczyk's jacket, I think, was used by Taylor Swift. I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah. So anyway, you've got the NFL league revenues tied to external factors like that, tied to the league's expansion internationally. I mean, you've got it tied to the new streaming deals that the NFL has scored. Anybody that knows an ounce about business can look at what the NFL has secured and the buzz and the interest around the NFL, and they could say, oh, wow, it looks like the NFL's revenues are going to continue growing. This is a rapidly growing league. And if you're a betting person, you could bet on the NFL to continue growing. The only time that we have ever seen shrinkage in the salary cap was during the COVID year of 2020. So it was I believe the 2021 cap. It was the following cap that had to adjust for the lost revenues of 2020. And it did. And the 49ers had to maneuver around that. I think they mainly successfully did maneuver around it. That was around the time that they did. It was before they knew the cap was going to drop, but they were able to trade away DeForest Buckner. That saved some money, but they also were helped on the back end of that through the fact that the market was a little bit softer for some players, because everybody around the league lost salary cap space. So anyway, that was the one exceptional time that the 49ers had to absorb a shrinking salary cap. Other than that, throughout this Lynch-Shanahan era, the cap has only gone up. And with the cap only going up, the 49ers have been able to surf that wave moving into each successive year. And that's exactly what is happening right now with San Francisco, and that triple bonus contract, the double bonus contract for Jawan Jennings. And, with Christian McCaffrey, that it's a great deal because it's a win-win. People who are trying to argue that there's something wrong with this Christian McCaffrey deal for either the player or more commonly the team, they're not credible. It's not a situation that you can credibly argue, because McCaffrey, he got money that was going to come to him anyway, guaranteed. So he gets that extra breathing room, peace of mind. You could sleep better at night that that $28 million is now guaranteed. But the 49ers, they got something valuable in return as well. And that is contractual control over Christian McCaffrey in 2026 and 2027. This is a Hall of Fame caliber player, somebody who's completely transformed how the 49ers do things, not only on the field, but, in the locker room, in the weight room as well. I mean, this is a culture builder. This guy fits exactly what the 49ers need at one of those adaptable, positionless skill position, as one of those adaptable positionless skill position weapons. This is the type of player that you want to reward for more reasons than one. The 49ers were able to reward him, and they were also able to gain more salary cap flexibility in the near term when there's less space available, because that salary cap is going to grow. They're able to gain more of that even while paying Christian McCaffrey more. And the magic of that happens through the signing bonus. It happens through the guaranteed option bonuses. If you're willing to pony up some cash, you've bought the ability under NFL rules to spread it out into the future. And that's how Parag Marate, that's how Jed York, that's how this 49ers operation has been able to get this done. We got a quick 49ers update. They've released Raymond Johnson III. That is the defensive end who's been with the team since last season, to make room for Logan Ryan. Raymond Johnson III didn't see any game time action for the 49ers. He was hurt for part of last season. Why did I put Logan Ryan? The second time that I made that mistake. Hold on. We've got to make the correction. It's Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is the tight end that the 49ers have picked up. 55 catches last year. I've talked a lot about him. In fact, I could even play you some video of what Logan Thomas, a tall target, is looking like at 49ers camp. So anyway, the corresponding roster move was to cut Raymond Johnson III. Now we get to look at 49ers practice. First, we'll take a look at Mr. Purdy throwing the football. He's had some nice zip on his passes. I think that he's obviously now over a year removed from the elbow surgery. The accuracy is still excellent from Brock Purdy, but this is minicamp practice today. Purdy working early on in the warm-up period, and he was throwing darts. He was accurate to the sideline. He was accurate there on the intermediate middle pass, and I think he's going to throw one more to the right before we have a look at the new 49ers tight end, Logan Thomas. No, one more to the left, and well delivered for Brock Purdy right there. Matt Barrows took this video, so we'll give him credit for this one. Thomas, I mean, the new guy has to wear number 48. Rules are rules. You don't get a cool number until you've been around a little bit longer. But Tom, I mean, he's going to be 33 years old this season, and he's a veteran. He's talking to Brian Fleury right there, 49ers tight ends coach, who also used to be a quarterback. Brian Fleury was a college quarterback at Towson. Logan Thomas, college quarterback at Virginia Tech, kind of like Nick Sorensen, the 49ers defensive coordinator. Nick Sorensen was a Virginia Tech quarterback before Michael Vick was a Virginia Tech quarterback. They were actually teammates over at Virginia Tech. Anyway, ex-QB working with ex-QB here. Logan Thomas, he'll have to earn his way out of that number 48. But that's 7 fewer catches than he had last season for Washington. 55 total catches for Logan Thomas. So that's him working with the 49ers tight ends. All right, now back to the quarterbacks. This is Brandon Allen. Allen has been working second in line over the course of the spring for the 49ers. It's going to be a competition between him and Josh Dobbs for that 49ers QB2 spot. We've also got a sandwich update for you, which is going to come in a little bit. Today's sandwich, I went back to Palo Alto for Fambrini's Cafe. And it was the chimichurri surf and turf. It was really damn good. So we'll have that one for you in just a few moments. First, we're going to watch Josh Dobbs throw a few of these passes. You're also going to get to see Tanner Mordecai. Tanner Mordecai is the 49ers rookie out of Wisconsin. So all 4 quarterbacks were thrown out there today. It was a little warm in Santa Clara, but we started earlier than we had for OTAs, 10:40 a.m., which is more along the time of training camp, which should obviously be toasty as well when training camp convenes in late July, about a month and a half from now. All right, now look at Mordecai, who wears number 4. Mordecai's a fast quarterback. I mean, between Purdy, Dobbs, and Mordecai, the 49ers have 3 quarterbacks who could really move. Mordecai, who knows? Mordecai might run the fastest 40 out of all of them. Purdy's 10-yard split is what makes him really special. He's got that great quickness. All right, we're going to put on the sound for this part.
Raven, KD, go get it. Lock them elbows out. Ain't a hot stove. Lock it out. Run underneath it. Oh, KD! All right, here we go. Kevin! Oh, Leonard! Oh, Samo! Oh, he tore!
That is the sled drill at 49ers practice. Every once in a while, Chris Kasarik will tug that sled in to be right in the corner there where I can watch and obviously film it for you guys. No Nick Bosa out there today. He was probably lifting weights at the team facility, but he was indeed present. The only 2 guys that weren't there were Brandon Aiyuk, who's not there due to contractual reasons. And there's Christian McCaffrey at his press conference. Brandon Aiyuk not there, and Trent Williams, his daughter, graduating. He'll be back around tomorrow. But there is Christian McCaffrey, 49ers' second ever triple bonus contract. He's smiling a little bit because he's got that $14.3 million signing bonus, an option bonus next year, another option bonus coming in 2026. They've basically taken Christian McCaffrey's money for the next 2 years, turned it into a guarantee, added 2 years of team control. That final season, by the way, for Christian McCaffrey, if we want to study this contract a little bit more extensively, that final season, you can see here, 2027 before the void years, that's a $16.85 million base salary. None of that is guaranteed. So it's essentially a team option for the 49ers. Yes, they will still be paying the cap hits of the bonuses, the 3 bonuses, the triple bonus system that they will have already paid Christian McCaffrey by this point. But as far as additional expenditures, which are currently counting against the cap for 2027, but aren't, mandatory for the 49ers to shoulder, they'll be able to decide what they want to do when Christian McCaffrey's 31 years old. Now, I think there's just as good of a chance, and maybe it's even likely that Christian is still going strong at 31, that he's still churning along. Again, this is a Hall of Fame caliber player. So to think that he might fall off of a cliff, I think is betting against the Hall of Fame caliber player who has shown both elite athleticism and quickness and, all that stuff, but he's also shown an underdog's zeal, hardworking mentality. Kyle Shanahan was saying that today. He was saying that Christian McCaffrey has those qualities. He has a walk-on's qualities, but he's in a 5-star body with that kind of capability as a player. Well, I would not bet against Christian McCaffrey being really damn good once year 4 this season of this contract arrives. And if that's the case, the 49ers may be in for a true bargain. But, by that point, $16.8 million per year for a running back, that's probably something that you might be willing to pay. Maybe they extend him again. I don't know. It's still a few years out, so we'll have to see what happens. But McCaffrey has now raised the value of the running back position, the top value there, right? The top high watermark contract to above $16 million per year. Well above $16 million per year, probably around $19 million per year. So assuming that this helps the rest of the running back market and other guys sign between now and then, and those guys approach $19 or $20 million per year by the 2027 season, the 49ers might be able to have Christian McCaffrey at a bargain rate at that $16.85 million salary in that season. That's why this is a win-win. When you got a Hall of Fame caliber talent, you try to keep him around through as long as you can while he's financially efficient. And there's every single sign that paying Christian McCaffrey, taking care of him, will be a financially efficient play for the 49ers. All right, I'm going to move this open to a 49ers Q&A. No Aiyuk. He's probably going to be fined around $17,000 today, about $34,000, $35,000 tomorrow. The 49ers do not have a mini camp session on Thursday, so I think that he wouldn't be fined for a day where they don't have practice. The total possible fines for a 3-day mini camp are $104,000. It's because that fine, the fines double every day. So that third day, could be, it wouldn't double, but it'd be probably around a $50-something million fine for Brandon Aiyuk, and that would run the total pretty high. But that won't be an issue. Tomorrow's the final day that we're going to be out there at 49ers minicamp, and then we will return for training camp. We have Fambrini's, the Chimichurri Surf and Turf. This is Fambrini's in Palo Alto. Tri-tip, shrimp. I add avocado, and then they've got their special sauce on there. This is very arguably the best sandwich in the Bay Area. It was hot outside today in Palo Alto, so I ate inside, but you could sit outside at Fambrini's as well. This place, I mean, I've eaten hundreds of these in my life. This is what fuels me. This is why I'm almost 6'6". Not really. I think I was already this tall once I started eating those, but good food will fuel you as well. And I can't say enough good things about Fambrini's. I know that I come on here and I give you guys the good Bay Area sandwich recommendations, maybe on a daily basis. Well, Fambrini's in Palo Alto may be at the very top of the list. That is the Chimichurri Surf and Turf. High quality, just like the 49ers have a lot of high quality players on their roster. Anyway, we're moving to a 49ers Q&A, so I am ready to answer your questions. Telly Lombardi, yes. All right, I'm ready for some questions. Let's go. I'm 100% ready. I'll take some of the good ones. I'll put them up on the screen and we'll go from there. We're about 30 minutes in. I think I covered everything. Mike, why don't you let me know on our text if I didn't cover something? You think I got everything contractually? I'm going to ask Mike. Mike always has some good questions behind the scenes, and that helps direct the show. So if he's watching right now, hopefully he's around. He can answer me there. But I'm waiting for your comments in the comments section. What is up with Aiyuk's contract? It's 14.1 million for this year. He's on the 5th-year option. What else is there to say? I mean, I talked about this for a couple hours yesterday and multiple shows. And sorry, there's no new update beyond that. But he's under contract with the 49ers for 14.1 million, 5th-year option, 2024. With them, they're holding the cards here. Aiyuk can hold out. Ultimately, he won't get money if he holds out. He's already fined for not being there today. He'd be fined for not being there in training camp. Theoretically, they could complete a deal and then give him a little bit extra in the signing bonus, or they could actually even forgive training camp fines. I don't know if they can forgive mini camp fines, but I mean, the two sides can amend this situation. They can make everything smooth over and everything good with a new contract. But right now, the old contract is what's in place for Brandon Aiyuk, and that's the only update that we have. I mean, it takes two parties to sign on a dotted line with the Justin Jefferson deal, potentially bringing both parties further apart, at least temporarily. With McCaffrey's new contract, will he be playing for the 49ers longer than he did for the Panthers? Well, he joined the league in 2017, right? So I'm going to count this manually. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's, hold on, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 5 years. 2022 was the 6th year. So he was about half the season, right? He was about half the season in 2022 with both teams. So 5.5 for Carolina. With the 49ers, it was 2022, half of it, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. That's 6. If he finishes this deal, he will be equal time between both the 49ers and the Panthers at 5.5 years apiece. That is just my finger math right now, but 5.5 years apiece. Now, if the 49ers extend Christian McCaffrey beyond 2027, which I think is totally possible, I wouldn't bet against a Hall of Fame caliber player. Well, in that case, it would be longer with the 49ers than with the Panthers. I think when Christian McCaffrey does go into the Hall of Fame, because he certainly is on that trajectory right now, I think I would say that he would go in as a 49er, right? Especially if he plays the rest of this extension with San Francisco. It would make a whole lot of sense. He's seen most of his on-field winning success with the 49ers as well. Have I seen Hufanga around? Yes, sir. I've seen Talanoa Hufanga around. He looks like he's bulked up a little bit. I mentioned that in the instant reaction today. Hufanga, I was looking across the field and I was like, is that Talanoa? It looked very strong. Looks like the upper body has been doing his lifts, and he kind of waved at me. And then I was like, yeah, that's Talanoa. He was probably like 30 yards away. So I'm watching practice, and then I turn around and I see Hufanga working out with the trainers on the side field. So I think he's shooting to be back in time for training camp. Elijah Mitchell is the 49ers running back 1 for the offseason program because Christian McCaffrey is not participating in these practices. So, yes, I have seen Elijah Mitchell. He was working hard yesterday at practice and today at practice. I guess I should say today at practice. That was not on Monday. That was on Tuesday. That was a little slip from me. And he is the 49ers' second best running back. The problem has been availability for him, but if he's healthy, you can expect him to be running back 2. Brandon Aiyuk doesn't want to get injured in camp before he gets paid. I mean, yeah, that's a huge reason of a holdout. Guys don't want to take the practice field until they actually get the money. Does Brock look like he's bulked up at all? Yeah, we covered this a couple months ago when some pictures came out of him throwing out in Florida. He looked like he had bulked up a bit. He's been working on his strength. He's been working on his explosion, his athleticism. So I think that Purdy does look a little bit physically stronger. Well, the problem is that camp doesn't start until July 23rd. So tomorrow we got veteran mini camp day 2, and that's it. Then the 49ers break for the summer. I would never rule out Elijah Mitchell or a running back potentially being moved because the 49ers have traded running backs before. They've traded Jeff Wilson. They traded Matt Breida. So that's a position where the 49ers have not been afraid to part ways with players. They've also traded for running backs, Christian McCaffrey being a great example. So, yeah, that is going to be a crowded room. I've gone over that in my big roster breakdowns. I'm happy to show you the depth chart again, and I'm happy to show you the chimichurri surf and turf again. Damn, that looks good. I had that a couple hours ago, and it's making me hungry again, but I got a lot more to do before I can eat. You have obviously Mitchell, Garendo, Patrick Taylor, the free agent pickup from the Packers, the tallest running back they've had in a while, Jordan Mason, Cody Schrader. So, I mean, not everybody's going to be able to make the 53. You're probably going to try to stash somebody on a practice squad. But if you feel that there is trade value, if you can get a lower round pick for one of these players, it's totally possible to ship him somewhere else. The 49ers have been able to glean some value out of backs in the past, such as Matt Breida and Jeff Wilson Jr. Chimichurri Surf and Turf from Fambrini's Cafe in Palo Alto. El Camino Real in California, around that intersection. Check it out, Fambrini's. Maybe next time I should put a text title up there. But yes, it was really, really good. The McCaffrey and Aiyuk extensions are not as tied together as people seem to think they are. This has freed up money in the short term for the 49ers. It's freed up 7.6 this year, 7.4 million this year, and about 5 million next season. But then you pay more a little bit later. So you got to look at it in terms of a lot of sinks in different seasons. They've got more to push forward now, like carry over. They have about 32 million in top 51 space, and in my off-season accounting right here, this is my in-season accounting in the off-season, the 49ers have 24 million or so to carry over. All of it ends up being in the same lump sum, obviously, like your cap space, but you have to surf the wave, and it's complex from year to year. They didn't make this move to be able to sign Brandon Aiyuk, and even if this move also didn't somehow lessen their chances of signing Brandon Aiyuk. It just doesn't have anything to do with it, right? It's a larger picture thing where Aiyuk is being judged against the receiver market, and that's how the 49ers are negotiating this contract. Christian McCaffrey, they just wanted some more financial flexibility in the near term while also rewarding Christian McCaffrey because culturally that's somebody who really deserves it, and they were able to get that done. Johnny, what players will be leaving in 2025? Go for broke. Damn, let's finish 2024 first. I agree with that. That's why I'll keep that answer. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Who do I compare how Ricky looks on the field to? I think that Ricky Pearsall, a lot of his movement capabilities remind me of Dante Pettis. But as I've said so many times before, he's got a lot tougher demeanor than Dante Pettis. He's got a bigger base than Dante Pettis. Just more, there's more heft to Ricky Pearsall in a way that obviously you would want because Dante Pettis wasn't quite tough and strong enough to deliver in the 49ers system. But he's a smooth operator. Slick Rick, they call him. He's able to generate separation. There's some Brandon Aiyuk and his separation generating abilities. And, Aiyuk also is a smooth operator that's more physical than somebody like Dante Pettis. So you'd want Ricky Pearsall to emulate that type of player. And I think so far in his career, we definitely have seen some of that skill set. When am I anticipating a Brandon Aiyuk extension? My read of what's happened, and I went over this yesterday, is that that has increased the chances of a standoff that's going to take a little bit longer for both CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Aiyuk. Because here they have Justin Jefferson at a contract that's so far and away ahead of all other receivers, a 70% increase in fully guaranteed money. Of course, Brandon Aiyuk and CeeDee Lamb are going to be hopeful that the 49ers and the Cowboys bite at some level that's closer to the Justin Jefferson level. Meanwhile, the 49ers aren't interested in giving out that kind of money because that just seems like Minnesota going crazy. It seems like an outlier. So if Brandon Aiyuk and CeeDee Lamb and the receivers are on this side of the opinion spectrum, which I don't blame them, well, why not? If Minnesota did that for Justin Jefferson, and the 49ers are on the opposite side, if they're on this side, if you've got people on opposite sides of the approach here, then it's going to take a while. It's going to take some real deadline pressure to get this deal done. And deadline pressure comes in many shapes and sizes. It could come with the start of training camp when a team might be incentivized to get a player in a little bit sooner because they want him at camp to keep everything flowing smoothly. It could come at the start of the season when both the team and the player have real incentive to get something done because the team wants the player to play and the player obviously wants to get paid. There's so many different times that you could look at as exerting different types of deadline pressure, different points within training camp. But I think that deadline pressure is ultimately what's going to be needed to bring Aiyuk and CeeDee Lamb and the 49ers and the Cowboys. I'm grouping all these receivers into this a little bit closer together because I don't think that Justin Jefferson deal yesterday helped opposing sides be close together on contract terms. No, signing Logan Thomas is a sign that the 49ers aren't assuming that anything's going to come from Cam Latu. Cam hasn't played in a long time. He's still working off on the side. He's not going to be back and cleared from injury until training camp. You sign as many good depth pieces as you can. The 49ers have this has been so obvious, they've long wanted a strong tight end too because they didn't get any receiving production out of that position opposite George Kittle. Charlie Warner had 11 catches in 4 years. So they drafted Latu and they drafted Braden Willis last year. They're hoping one of those guys pans out. They might still pan out in that kind of way. But until that's actually proven on the field, why not give yourself more dart throws at the wall, more shots to get it right? And Logan Thomas, even though he's going to be 33, had 55 catches last year. 55. So, boy, that's a guy that's already gotten it done. You know what? He's a big target for Brock Purdy as well. We can go back and look at this through the video that Matt was able to get of Logan Thomas. They have got 6'8" Mason Pline, and now they've got 6'6" plus Logan Thomas. And Purdy's always been good throwing to some big targets. He's accurate, so he could take advantage of the fact that a receiver's got a height advantage over guys that are trying to cover him. So they've added another big target to the room. He's going to compete, and Fleury's not a short guy either. You can see Brian Fleury standing next to him. It's a really good shot. Thanks to Matt Barrows for that video. Dice Game Network thinks that this is a big signing for the 49ers. I think it's significant. I think it gives them a shot to have that strong complementary receiving tight end too to George Kittle. I do not think, this is a good question, I do not think that Brandon Aiyuk would have signed a deal before Justin Jefferson. To me, I look at this and there was no incentive for Brandon Aiyuk to sign before Justin Jefferson. So these people, they're like, oh, the 49ers should have gotten this done sooner. Well, guess what? Brandon Aiyuk needs to be a willing employee as well. He needs to actually sign on the dotted line as well. You can't just tell him, hey, you're playing for us for the next 5 years. He has to decide that he wants to agree to that contract. And if Justin Jefferson was the talk of the town and there was all this hype and buzz building about Justin Jefferson, about Justin Jefferson potentially taking over, that top receiver spot in the same year that Brandon Ayuk was going to negotiate a contract of his own. Anybody in their right mind in Brandon Ayuk's shoes would wait for Justin Jefferson to sign, because Jefferson was the guy with his volume, his resume, his reputation. He was the guy that was going to break the ceiling at that receiver position, and he was going to make it better for everybody else. So it was in Brandon Ayuk's best interest to sit there and wait. And try as they might, the 49ers weren't going to be able to convince Brandon Ayuk to sign earlier, minus an exorbitant offer to him. But the 49ers would be shooting themselves in the foot if they made an exorbitant offer too early. So now we're sitting here with Ayuk finally having the Justin Jefferson deal done. But that deal was so far out ahead of everybody else's. Now we're wondering if that's even going to create precedent, or if that's going to be looked at as an outlier by these football teams. I guarantee you the teams want it to be seen as an outlier, and the teams hold the cards. So the receivers, in protest, if they don't get deals that they like right now relative to Justin Jefferson's deal, they can sit there and they can hold out. We're seeing Brandon Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb hold out right now, and we'll see how long that holdout lasts. But no, I don't think Ayuk would have signed a deal before Justin Jefferson. Any chance the 49ers sign another name free agent like Justin Simmons or Xavier Howard? So always a chance. I would think that the safety position is the one where they've been interested. I mean, they worked out Rayshawn Jenkins. According to Rayshawn Jenkins, they offered him a contract worth $12 million over 2 years. They hosted Justin Blackmon before he re-signed with the Colts. That they're obviously interested in, or have been interested in, adding a safety. That might have been before Talanoa Hufanga made some progress, though, and that was obviously before Malik Mustafa was drafted by the 49ers. So I don't know exactly where that stands right now. We'll see. What does somebody like Tabor Pepper do during camp? He works on a few snaps and then just stands around and offers some moral support to his teammates. And Tabor Pepper's a good teammate. Very active on social media as well. How has Christian McCaffrey's deal helped the 49ers cap in 2025? Well, here's 2024. They've lowered his cap hit in 2024 from about 14 million to about 6.7. So they've saved about 7. In 2025, they've lowered it from 14 million to 9.8. So they've saved about 5 million. It isn't until 2026 where you have new or higher charges than before, because he was only under contract through to 2025. Now he's under contract through 2027. All right, guys, that's it for now. Good questions. Thank you. Hopefully we went through everything to your approval. We'll talk to everybody very soon.